What a win for the Cubs. Hey, and I'll tell you what, Justin Turner, hey, might be one of the best moments that he's had in years. And you could tell the team was really excited for him. What a great game for the Cubs and a huge comeback win at Wrigley last night. We're going to talk about, though, Kyle Tucker, the impact that he's had on the Cubs, teams that could be making a run at him, reports that the Dodgers are listed in that group. Could the Cubs seriously consider Raphael Devers? I'm going to tell you why there's no chance that the Cubs are going to end up with the disgruntled Red Sox DH. Zyhir Hope, Cubs traded him to the Dodgers. He's making some noise in their farm system, worth bringing up. And how about our friend Javier Baez, the return of El Mago? What a great game for him. I thought he was dead and gone, but he's back, and it has been so exciting to see. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Welcome to the Cubs baseball channel. I know it's a lot to ask, but you guys have it. Even 4 hit the bell. Cardinals fans, that's just too complicated for you guys. Just maybe give us a thumbs up just because you like baseball. All right, what do you say, Cubs fans? I tell you guys that I do this podcast. I try to do it every day because I love the Cubs like you. And if this is the first time here, please join us on a daily basis. But I've been a Cubs fan since the 80s. And obviously, I've spent time in the organization since 2007. But love the team. And last night's win is why. Those are the moments that you dream of as a Cubs fan. What a great win. What an electric Wrigley. Didn't look good. We got the debut of Moises Ballesteros. He didn't do much, but it was the old-timer that showed he still got a little bit of juice in the tank, right? Justin Turner with the amazing walk-off. Nico smiling as he rounded third. Hey, go Cubs go. What a great win. All right, on the show today, I wanted to get started with Kyle Tucker and the impact that he's had on the Cubs and the market that's going to be out there for him. We've talked about this a lot. The Cubs made this deal. They gave up their first-round pick in Cam Smith, who's in the big leagues, and he's not getting blown away anymore. I mean, look, he's going to struggle, but the guy was in college last year. Isaac Paredes, an all-star that you traded, Hunter Biggie and other prospects to get from Tampa Bay at the deadline. You gave up a pitcher, right? And you get this guy back, and guess what? He's been worth every bit of it. I mean, he's a difference maker. He's the guy in the lineup that you worry about every time he's up. And even if he's not the guy getting the hit, he makes the other guys in the lineup better. He's the true star player on this team. And as this team gets better, so much of it has to do with the danger that he represents in the batting lineup. The Cubs gave up a lot to get him. They also sold Cody Bellinger plus $5 million to the Yankees. Sometimes those moves, you keep your head scratching because you're like, man, that really made no sense. I mean, you gave up 2 third basemen. Now you don't have one, whatever. But then you see this guy and you're like, hey, if it's a win now atmosphere and this front office is trying to save their jobs, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just trying to go out in a blaze of glory. It's been great. It really has. And I put so much of that on the presence that Tucker brings in the lineup every day. Now, Bob Nightingale, our friend from the USA Today, said that the Dodgers are expected to make a run at Kyle Tucker. Okay, yeah. Can they just buy everybody? Well, other teams that are going to be in this mix too, the Yankees, who lost out on Juan Soto, the Toronto Blue Jays, who I'm going to talk about in a second, maybe the Boston Red Sox, and then there's going to be other teams in this mix too. And when you think about the Vlad Guerrero contract, you feel like Kyle Tucker is going to get upwards of $500 million. Maybe 500 guaranteed. Is a 14-year deal, out of the question. I don't know, maybe 12 years, $500 million, maybe 5.5, who knows? But the bottom line is the reason that he's going to be paid so much is that he's worth it. There was a story in Forbes magazine by Daniel Epstein talking about Tucker and how much money he's going to get, and the fact that he's kind of the next guy. Juan Soto, right? Vlad Guerrero Jr., Kyle Tucker. These are, difference-making players. And the Cubs, they don't have anybody like that. Now, Pete Crow Armstrong's played really well so far, Hollywood Pete, but could he maintain that? Would he be as good without Tucker? I don't know. And I don't know what the future holds. But Tucker's stats told us from the beginning that this was likely. And I think that, just like I said on the live show yesterday, when you go to a great restaurant, there's a line. And there's a line because the food's great. And that's the same thing that you deal with superstar players in baseball. They're far and few between, but the Cubs have one of those guys. And maybe the best game plan is to try to sign them before the season's over. A lot of you guys get in the comment section and don't expect the Ricketts to want to spend that kind of money. It's risky, because it's guaranteed money, and if the guy doesn't live up to the contract, you're stuck. And then also, and I'm going to talk about Raphael Devers here in a second. If you get a guy that, if he gets disgruntled, which I don't know that he's like that, but he's got a lot more leverage than you would probably think. Just because of the fact that the money's guaranteed and it's a long-term deal. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I know there's going to be, the Mariners could be a suitor. There's going to be teams that have money that are going to come out of nowhere to try to get him. The Cubs' best strategy is probably just to keep working on this now. If they're realistic, if they are realistically thinking about signing him long-term and then building off of that. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to get into was Raphael Devers. This is a contract, and I put this number up here because I wanted you guys to see this. $313.5 million Devers signed with Boston in 23. Then when they went out and signed Alex Bregman, he had to go from third base to DH, and it pissed him off. And he's been disgruntled ever since. And it ruins your clubhouse. And, I've theorized maybe they didn't ask him about it. We heard when Bregman was going to be available that maybe they play him at second base. Well, he took third base. And then that means Devers moved somewhere else. Is Devers going to play first? But even though Devers can be an excellent player, he's a 3-time All-Star. And he's been one of the Red Sox premier guys up until, this year. There's no chance that he's going to the Cubs. I just don't see any scenario where the Cubs would trade for Devers and want to pick up any bit of that 10-year, $313 million contract. And then on top of it, for a guy that's, not being a team player with the organization that he's at now. In 23, you're still going to eat a lot of money on this contract. As a matter of fact, I'd be surprised if anybody picks him up. I think the Red Sox and Devers are kind of stuck together, and I just don't see that being a fit for the Cubs. I think that the Cubs could make a potential trade for a third baseman, but it's going to be a lot less impactful than spending that kind of money. And the bottom line is this, if you're going to spend that kind of money, go all in and get Tucker. He just fits your organization. He's good. He's been consistently good. I don't think that's going to change. He's just quietly great every day. And he's the force in the lineup that makes this Cubs team better. Saw where Zyhir Hope was having a great year for the Dodgers. He's healthy finally. He's one of the highest rising shortstops in the top 100 prospect list. This was a guy that was traded to LA to get Michael Busch. He and was it Ferris Jackson, the left-handed pitcher, or maybe it's Jackson Ferris. You know who I'm talking about, though. I know I got, it's one of the way or the other, but two guys, right? I knew about the lefty being a really good pitcher. I didn't know much about Hope. I didn't see him play. I heard that he was really good. You got to give up good players to get good players. And I don't look at that Michael Busch deal and think, hey, the Cubs gave up too much to get him. I think that the Cubs got a potential cornerstone piece with Michael Busch. And he's still learning. He's still getting better every game. He's got power. Obviously his glove work's been better and better. He's not perfect, but he's been a really integral part of this Cubs team and the success that they're having. And you don't really worry about first base anymore, right? Bushy's over there. He's doing the job. When he's out, and they put Turner over there, bad plays happen. If they put Ballesteros over there, he's not going to be nearly as good. So that's what trades are. It's not always about you. And this is something that Gary Hughes used to tell me when he was special assistant to the GM of the Cubs, Jim Hendry. Gary used to talk about trades. It's not trying to rip off the other team. You want both teams to be satisfied with the trade that you make. You want to be a fair trading partner. And if you take that advice and you do it throughout your life, not just in baseball, but just in your person, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more friends and you're going to be a much more respected person. And for those of you guys that didn't know Gary Hughes, he just was one of the greatest people I ever met in my life, not just outside of being one of the all-time top scouts in baseball history. And he was known for that. But he was just a great person. And I think about those kind of things, a lot of lessons that I heard, Gary would talk about. And that was one of them, being a good partner. And I feel like this trade's one of those. The Cubs got back Michael Busch. He's been great. Hey, they got a great left-handed pitcher, and they got a shortstop that has a chance to be somebody special. So good on both teams on that one. All right, final thing I wanted to talk about on today's show is Javier Baez. I was wrong about Javi. And I told you guys from the beginning, he's one of my all-time favorite players, not just as a World Series champion, but as a person, as a guy that I've got to broadcast his games, play-by-play wise, someone that when I would see, get a hug from him. I love him. And to see him struggle so poorly in Detroit was hard. And the crazy thing was that at the beginning, it just didn't look like he was having a whole lot of fun. And then I think he looked hurt and looked lost. And then the team started winning without him. And I've never met anybody that wants to win more than him. Now, I've heard that Pete Rose is one of those guys. I didn't see Pete Rose play a whole lot. I mean, I did, but not as an adult. And, I've told you guys that Pete Crow Armstrong brings that same mentality. Baez is like that. It nothing but helped Baez to be on a team and watch the guys win without him. But he's back. I mean, his performance last night for the Tigers was amazing. I mean, watching him hit that walk-off home run just brought back the El Mago magic. It's so fantastic. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Obviously, he's not a Cub, but we still love him. He got us that World Series. He's a special player in person, and I'm really excited for him. And it was super cool to see him hit that walk-off home run. It's like old times again, man. Just walloping the ball around the yard. So, and he's been great in center field too. I just didn't think that that his body was going to hold up. And I watched games, and it was like he just had no approach. When he starts walking and he starts hitting the ball the other way, I've always said this about Javier Baez. He's the most dangerous because when you got to throw him strikes, he's going to do something with it, and he loves to win. And he's a guy that makes your team better every day by doing the things that it takes to win. So great W for the Cubs and great win for a former Cub and Javier Baez. So, all right, final thing we're going to talk about today is what do the Cubs do as an encore? What do you do as an encore after a win like that? I think that's the big question. 5-4 win, little walk-off magic. Now what? Well, how about another 6:40 game at Wrigley? It's all these night games. And it's going to be Ryan Weathers for the Marlins. 7th-round pick. Career 10-21 with a 5.08 ERA. And Cubs are going back with Jameson Taillon to get the start. And Taillon's 2-2 with a 4.53 ERA. We'll see if the Cubs can continue that momentum. But, congratulations to Justin Turner on that. That was a great moment. You just can't say anything else, but what a great moment. Thank you guys. Get in the comment section. Tell me what you think. So excited about what's going on right now. Got to continue that momentum. But what do you think about Kyle Tucker? Is this a guy that the Cubs could go ahead and make a deal for now? Would his agent even consider that? And how far are you going to go to get the job done? Or are you a little less bullish on this, looking at it going, hey, man, if you give this guy 12 years, what's he going to look like in year 8? So we'll find out. Anyway, again, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, and we'll get back together again tomorrow. But what a great win. Savor it, baby. Savor it.